Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another episode of a double feature podcast. The last one of the year, the kind of
I
Christmas
know,
episode.
kind of. Yeah,
Kind
sort
of.
of. Yeah.
We got
So
the
we've
tree
we've
and we
been
got the
doing.
jumper, it's Christmas.
Yeah, we got the advent. Hang on, we got the advent calendar.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, this is the last year that we've been doing the on-camera appearances for a full year, which is kind of cool because we started
Yeah.
in the Sonic 3 episode in January. So yeah.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm Dan. That's Mr. L, and this is episode 17 of the Double Feature podcast. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
well,
We've lost.
okay. I think
We've
it
lost.
is, yeah.
We've proper lost track of how many. Yeah, this is our big kind of end of year extravaganza. We've got Wicked. We've got furries. We've got Glenn Powell. We've got The Who. We've got Quentin Tarantino. We've got Nicolas Cage. How many podcasts do you know that have all of that in one? Didn't think so. You good there, buddy?
That caught me off guard.
I know exactly which one piqued your interest, and we'll get to that in the part one, which where we talk about the current movie news and whatnot. But first bit of news, actually, regarding the podcast, we've got an Instagram page
Yes, we have the Insta.
for the official double feature podcast, where we'll be kind of posting regular updates on new episodes, and we'll think of some things to post on there, but like behind the scenes stuff, it'll be kind of regular updates on the podcast in between episodes. So be sure to give that a follow. We'll put the link in the description so you can give it a follow. And yeah, so again, we've got that. But yeah, let's get on to the current movie news and whatnot. And I've got a shit ton this month.
I don't have that much, I don't think.
Shall I start and address the elephant in the room or the furry in the room? What I
Go
was
on.
referring to, I was referring to Zootopia 2. So I
Ah,
should obviously,
yes.
that's what I was referring to with that. But yeah, I've seen a few films other than Wicked
I thought
recently
maybe
that
there
have
was
come out.
something you weren't telling us about yourself.
No, no, dude, no, no, dude, I'm good. I'm good, man. But no. So as I said, obviously, other films that we can't spotlight this month. But yeah, we've got Zootopia 2. I've got four films I'm going to just quickly mention. So yeah, Zootopia 2, sequel to the 2016 Disney hit Zootopia. Honestly, really good and a really solid Disney sequel, which is rare these days.
Has it really
But
been that long since the first
yeah,
one?
it's nearly.
Wow.
Yeah, the OG Zootopia is nearly 10 years old. But yeah, this one, I did prefer the original slightly, but it's not far off. Like, it's a very solid sequel. I just love the Zootopia world, and I love the kind of crime, police procedural stories that these films have. I just enjoy them. And they're just really fun. And I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, so there's that. And also that movie in the trailers, we had the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer in that screening. So
Yeah, I
comes
can't
the
wait to watch
podcast in
that
April.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Next film I'll talk about another sequel, the third film of the franchise. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I don't know if you're familiar with the Now You See Me films.
I never heard of them until I saw this trailer. Never heard
Yeah.
of the
So
first
so
two.
so yeah, the Now You See Me films. They're it's not a franchise. I've only recently been watching them because my friend she likes them, so we've been watching them together. Um,
Your friend, in
but
quotation
we've
marks.
but they're films that she enjoys, so she showed me them and whatnot. And they're about this sort of like action comedy films about these magicians and whatnot, and they're kind of globe-trotting films. And to be honest, the third one was actually my favorite of the series.
Okay.
It felt a bit James Bond-esque. They were trying to look for this diamond and whatnot. You're pretty sure in the trailer.
Yes, yeah, I've seen the
Um,
trailer.
yeah, but I don't know. I quite like the vibe of it. I think the stakes are a bit higher this time, and it's amazing. But I quite enjoyed it, and I thought it was quite fun. And it had Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers in, which I'm never going to complain about because Holdovers is an amazing Christmas film, as I spotlighted last time, if you remember.
Yes, yeah, I
And
just
I
went
had
through that part of the episode recently to figure out,
yeah,
oh, what did we spotlight last year? And
yeah,
that was one of your three.
yeah, yeah.
Along
And
with,
I
I
actually
think it
rewatched
was, I think you also did
Klaus and
Klaus and Arthur Christmas. Yeah.
that's right. But I rewatched The Holdovers the other day, and like it's still amazing. It's gonna be repeated Christmas movie for me. That film
Yeah.
is because I adore it. But yeah. Next film. I think I might mention this last time briefly. Begonia, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film
Oh,
with
yeah.
Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons. This is one. It was weird, which is no surprise for Yorgos Lanthimos, but it was one that I initially couldn't really get into. I think maybe it's because of me. I was a bit tired that day when I watched it, so I'm fully to blame for that. But I didn't quite like it was well shot, well acted, very interesting performances and ideas, but the vibe of it I couldn't quite get my head around for a lot of the film. And then the last 5 minutes happened, which is a phenomenal sequence, and it kind of recontextualized everything for me. And it was like, okay, that's kind of genius. So I think if I rewatch this film, which I plan to, because I think it warrants a revisit, I think I will get a lot more out of it. But it's a very interesting film, and I would. It's tricky to say if I'd recommend it or not, but I think if I've rewatched it and I love it, I will say, yeah, go watch it because it's very unique, very kind of unique sci-fi, absurdist sort of film. And then the final film I'm talking about, which is one that you've also seen, new Edgar Wright film, The Running Man.
Ben Richards lives.
Oh god damn. Yeah, Ben Richards lives. There we go. But yeah, so obviously the new Edgar Wright film based on the original Stephen King book. Obviously, there was also an adaptation in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but this one's starring Glenn Powell, Colin Domingo, Josh Brolin. Um, we've already talked about this. You really enjoyed it. I wasn't. I didn't hate it, but it's pretty much for me the most disappointing film of this year for me, in my opinion.
Really?
Only because, like, I say, I'm not saying it's bad, but I think my expectation, because of it's Edgar Wright and Stephen King, that's like for me a match made in heaven. You know, Stephen King stories. I love Carrie. I love The Shining. Edgar Wright. You know, I love Edgar Wright films like Shaun of the Dead and whatnot. And for me, that should have been like that should have been a slam dunk. But for me, I found it like yeah, it was a fine action blockbuster, but I felt none of Edgar Wright's sort of personal stamp on it, and it just felt like anybody could have done it. But and then when he did try to go all Edgar Wright with the whole Michael Cera bit in the when he goes all the way Home Alone, it was just like it's so jarring, and it was like it's like I couldn't tell if it wanted to be like a sort of pulpy, campy action blockbuster or kind of an interesting social commentary on like the class system and media entertainment and whatnot. I think there's a lot of potential. I just think it that's why I was more disappointed than anything.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it
Hmm.
handled its topics well. I think Glenn Powell was good in it. I think, you know, it's quite, I've heard it's quite faithful to the book compared to Schwarzenegger's version.
Yeah.
That said, I do still prefer Schwarzenegger's version. You know, it's the right kind of crazy 80s action movie that I do kind of just
Hmm.
like. Very quotable. But you know,
Yeah.
I do love Arnold's version, but I thought this was perfectly good as well. Like it's still like I'd say for this, I mean, this year we've had a lot of good movies, but I'd say it's at least in the top half of them for me this year.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. Just I do slightly prefer Arnold's. Uh,
That's fair enough. I
I've
mean,
always
I've
I've
not.
always
I
picked
should say.
Arnold's movies.
I know you did. That'll be a spotlight one day. That will be. No, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
I haven't seen the 80s food film and I've not read King's novel, so I can't comment on how it compares. But I just think the way it's done, like I think I'm more looking at it, I'm more disappointed from the fact that I don't feel any of Edgar Wright's personal stamp on it for the most part. And
I
he's a director who
guess
has such an interesting idea.
I guess that's the difference between, as we've said before, when you'll watch a movie for the director and I'll watch a movie for an
Yeah.
actor, is that when you watch a movie for a director and it doesn't feel like that director, that's gonna feel a
Mhm.
little weird to you. Whereas to me, I didn't really pick that up because
Yeah.
that's,
That's
you know,
fair.
I don't necessarily,
That's fair.
because I don't always come in with that kind of perspective of I watch it
Yeah.
for this director,
But
I expect certain things.
I think when it's a director that I love as much, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz are two of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
You know, I love the ones, and I'm one of the few people who really enjoyed Last Night in Soho. That was his previous film. I really love that as well. So, you know, he's a director that I love, and I love his vision. And I think this and Baby Driver, which again another film that I find massively overrated from him. When Edgar Wright goes more conventionally Hollywood, that's for me when he produces weakest work in my opinion. That's all. Because it kind of again, it just feels like anybody could have done them, and you know, that's why I would say I was disappointed. But as I say, it was fine. It was entertaining enough, you know, but like it wasn't poorly made. It was just I felt there could have been so much more there, and that's all. Yeah, but yeah, Tom and Domingo's great though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and he's also in Wicked for Good. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. So those are all the films that I've seen and whatnot. In terms of that. I've also got a couple of little sort of bullet points of a couple of little bits of news and whatnot relate to movies. But did you have any other things that you've seen that you wanted to get before I talk
Yeah,
about
I'll go through the movies and stuff I've got. So,
that?
we talked about
So,
Running
so we talk
Man.
about Running Man.
I can knock that off the list. I watched the new Predator movie,
Mm.
Badlands.
Oh yeah,
I think this
there's
was
been two Predator movies, hasn't
yeah. We had
there?
Killer of
The
Killers
animated
earlier
one.
in the year. That was animated. That was straight to Disney Plus. Then we had
Hmm.
Badlands, which was live action. That was in cinema recently. And Badlands is really good. Like, I think if we exclude the first Predator movie, this might be the best one. Like,
Was it from the same? Was it from the same director of Prey, the previous?
I think it was, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. But it was really good. It's a very different kind of perspective to the other ones where the main protagonist is one of the predators.
yeah, that's interesting.
And it kind of explores a lot into the culture of the Yautja and
Hmm.
this one particular Yautja that goes on a hunt for to kind of prove his worth, who ends up finding a companion in one of the Weyland-Yutani androids, synths. That's what they're called, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and so it was very interesting having that kind of different perspective of instead of protagonist is getting hunted by the predator. We've done this so many
yeah.
times now. It's the predator is hunting something else, but also kind of being hunted by stuff. And this predator ends up on like a really, really kind of like aggressive planet where everything is out to kill you.
Mhm.
But
Oh, that's cool.
it's really cool. It's visually good. There's a lot of good action in there. Really solid movie. And yeah, aside from the first film, I'd say this is probably the best Predator film. Uh,
Fair enough. I'm glad that it's doing something a bit different.
oh yeah, it's really nice to have like a different kind of take on it rather than just the same story that all the Predator and all the Alien films have of just here is Alien, here is Predator. They're going to try and kill the protagonist. Oh no. It's
That's
nice
why.
to have something
That's
really
why.
refreshing here.
Yeah, that's why Predator 2 sucks because it's just the original but in a city again. It's like
And
it's
without Arnold Schwarzenegger, so you know.
yeah. I mean, Danny Glover's cool, but like it's Arnie. You know,
Yeah. I think the first one is still the best one because I think there's
I
something
love the
just so
first one.
perfect about that film.
It's yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned this before when we've talked about horror or whatever, but Predator is as good at horror film as any. Most kind
Yeah,
of horror
exactly. Yeah,
films usually like the stereotypical horror film will have like a girl being chased by a slasher or something.
yeah.
Whereas
The
the
final girl.
predator is hunting down like the manliest men you can think of who are still
Yeah,
scared
it.
of the predator. That's
That's
how
the thing.
good he is as a horror villain.
It's why I love the first Predator. It takes that formula of like the big muscly 80s action stars and whatnot and turns them into Girl Scouts. It flips it completely on its
Yeah.
head, and it's just such a great sort of like subversion. And I love that first Predator movie. And it's great action, great sci-fi, great. It's got a load of different things in one, and I love
Mm.
it. It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean like most horror villains tend to pick out like weaker victims, but the predator picks like the strongest people he can find and still kills most of them because he's that powerful.
Yeah.
So I think the Predator is a really good character, and I think it was really interesting with this movie to explore what it's like through their eyes and from in their kind of world, their culture. It was and it has I think surprisingly more emotional stakes than you would expect from a Predator movie as well. So
Okay.
I would definitely recommend checking it out. Really good film.
I'll definitely give it. I'll definitely give it a shot. 'Cause I need to watch more Predator movies. To be fair.
I've only seen the first two and Alien versus Predator, and then I've seen
Mhm.
all the Alien films as well, and
Oh
then
yeah.
the two new Predator films. Wait, no, I saw Prey, and then I saw the two that came out this year.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen quite a few things from that kind of shared universe, and I'd say out of all of it, like Badlands is high in the list. It's
Ah,
but on to other things now. More TV here, but Stranger Things 5 Volume 1 just
the
dropped. I've
final,
been
the
watching
final
through it.
season.
Yeah, it's been so long between season 4 and season 5 that Millie
Yeah.
Bobby Brown, who plays 11, has gotten married and adopted a kid in that time. So it's been that long. But
Oh god damn.
yeah, Volume 5 starts off strong. I'd say so far, obviously I don't want to give spoilers for people. We're still pretty fresh off the bat. It only
Hmm.
came out like I
Yeah.
don't know, early in the week, maybe last week or something. But yeah, season 5 It's pretty good. It's a little bit slower to get going than the other seasons were, I think, except for maybe the first one because that was quite a slow burn. But I
Mhm.
think it's really building to something that's going to be spectacular at the end. Can't wait to see how it pans out. Volume 2 drops Christmas Day, and the
New,
final episode
oh,
drops
it's
New
new.
Year's Eve.
New Year's, yeah.
And so, next episode we'll be able to discuss this again of here's how it
Yeah,
ended and here's what the final thoughts are. Hopefully they handle it well. But so far, I'm really
hopefully.
excited for it. I really like that it's kind of every season has felt almost somewhat standalone-ish, where they've had like their own antagonists, each villain, everything,
Yeah.
season, everything. But this one kind of links back in with, we still got Vecna going on with season 4. We're following the events of what happened at the end of season 4. I think Vecna's a really cool character, so it's really cool to continue this story and link everything back together. Um, Interestingly as well, the Duffer Brothers did post that there were 4 episodes that you should probably watch before Volume 2 drop, which I think is very interesting that they singled out 4 specific episodes. I think it was one in
Hmm.
season 2, one in season 3, and 2 in season 4. So maybe there's some
Okay.
hints there, but it's
Who
interesting to see
knows?
where they're going.
Definitely. I mean, the thing is, I've only seen the first 3 seasons. Like when season 4 came out, I think what annoyed me about season, it was the whole like movie length episodes, and it's
Oh
like the
God, they're
whole point of
long.
a TV show. That's I watched the first episode of season 4, and it's like this is padding it out too much. Like I get a slow burn, introducing all the characters and whatnot, but when it's a movie length each episode, the point of a TV show is to break it up into manageable chunks, like a long form story.
Mm.
When you've got movie length chunks of that of just kind of set up, it's like no, and that's why I fell off Stranger Things with season 4. And maybe I heard really good things about it. Obviously, with Eddie, you know,
Oh yeah.
becoming a fan favorite, I'm aware of that. But you know, I don't know. And
I'd
as you know, I'm
say
terrible at
with
keeping up with TV shows.
I'd say with season 4, it's only really the first episode that feels a bit set up-y. After that, it really starts to
Mhm,
kind of pick up. But season
mhm.
5,
But it's
yeah,
the
the
cut.
episodes are long again. I think the final episode's going to be 2 hours.
Jesus.
And then obviously, yeah, I think now that you've mentioned that, season 5 is having a bit of the same issue where the first episode, whatever, is spending quite a while just setting things up. But I think once the
Mhm.
setup is there, the payoff is good enough that it's worth it, I'd say.
Fair enough. I don't know. I probably just need to just catch up at some point on it all. But yeah.
Other movie wise, I've not seen much else recently. Um, like most of the shows I mentioned last episode are finished now. Physical Asia finished, Squid Game finished. I've applied to season 3. Um, so yeah, most of the TV shows are wrapping up now. The only other thing I've got kind of in terms of movies is not a movie that I've seen, but one I'm going to see tomorrow. I'm going to see Five Nights at Freddy's 2 tomorrow. Now
Yeah.
the responses have been quite interesting so far on
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes because the critic score is really low, like much lower than the first one, like 36% for the first one, 13 for the second one. However, the audience score is like 86% for the first one and 89 for the second one. The audience love it. And interestingly, the director did say that the critics aren't going to like it, but the fans will, and that seems to be reflected in the scores. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's. I rewatched the first one recently just to kind of remind myself of
Mhm.
essentially the lore of the movie is different to the lore of the games and the lore of the books. I need to remember which one's which. So I watched the movie again, and it does
Yeah.
kind of drag. It's a bit dull. It doesn't have enough going on. So I'm hoping they've kind of gone done something better with this one, and there's more going on, it'd be more exciting. But I will be reporting on that next episode because I'm very excited to
Definitely.
watch that tomorrow with my guys at the Five Guys at Freddy's group. The 4 of us heading
Definitely.
out. Um,
Awesome.
but that's it
Big
for me in
family day
terms
out.
of yeah. But that's it for me in terms of movies. I've just got one like news point, but I feel like it's probably on your
Okay.
radar because it's pretty big news.
I give it. What is it?
Warner Bros.
No, this isn't on my.
Oh, okay. So the other day
What's?
it just got announced that Netflix won the bidding war to buy
Oh,
Warner Bros.
I did read this. I didn't note it down, but yeah.
Yes, I mean a lot of people are saying that this could end up being a step again towards the death of cinema because Netflix just released their movies on streaming. And so if they've bought
Hmm.
Warner Bros., that's more movies that Warner Bros. Would put in cinema that aren't going to go because they're going to go to streaming now. But that said, it also
Hmm.
means we're not getting movies destroyed for tax write-offs. So
True.
win some, lose some. But I'll be interested to see how this pans out now that Netflix is taking over Warner Bros. They're going to get all the rights to all those kind of characters. There's more stuff they're going to be able to do. It'd be interesting to see where this pans out. But a lot of people are worried that it's going to be more movies on streaming, less in the cinema now.
I'm not thrilled at that prospect.
No, no, me neither. We got to keep the cinemas alive.
Yeah, how are we going to do our podcast?
Yeah, just gonna have to live stream stuff on Netflix.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I've got. It's just I thought that was
Mhm.
quite an interesting thing. So that was
It
kind of
is,
doing the
yeah.
rounds. It
I
only
did,
hit like two
I
days
did
ago or
see.
something.
Yeah, no, I did see that. I just didn't note it down.
Hmm.
I've got a few more like little bullet points, so just a news tidbit. So
Radio.
you mentioned about FNAF 2 coming out, kind of a franchise that you're connected to, an IP that you're connected to, that is upcoming that you're going to go and see. Well, tomorrow, as we're recording this, there's a new Doccy Who thing coming out.
Okay.
It's a spin-off show coming out. The War Between the Land and the Sea. It features UNIT, who are the kind of military organization in the show, and also the Sea Devils, they're an iconic monster from the 70s, introduced in the John Pertwee era, and are coming back. And to be fair, like again, I'm very, very like rock bottom interest in Doctor Who. I will watch it, obviously, and to be fair, the fact that it's not Doctor Who definitely feels like a different kind of tone, a bit more grounded and trying to go for something a bit different. She's trying to say something, instead of just it being mindless spectacle and slop. And it's just like, okay, maybe there's something there. I'll give it a shot, but not got high hopes. But I will report back next episode about it,
Okay.
see if it's any good. Another little thing, the Oscars related, the Governor Awards, you're aware of these, where they give out honorary Oscars to well-known industry folks, and there are a few awards given out this time around. The main one being to Tom Cruise, finally after all these years, finally got an Oscar.
Now, okay, that's interesting because I
Yeah,
heard something about that he got an Oscar, and I thought, wait, aren't the Oscars like
yeah,
at the start of next
yeah.
year or something?
Yeah, so the main ceremony is like like February March time. That's the main
Yeah.
ceremony. But they've been doing this for about 15 years now, I think, where they would often do it in the older ceremonies, like in between, and have like the lifetime achievement awards for a respected actor or director or whatever, who maybe never got an Oscar, or it's like they're getting on and it's like they're like celebrating their body of work essentially. But that's now a separate event in the end of the calendar year called the Governor Awards, basically, and that's where they give them out. So the main winner this time was Tom Cruise, who won his Oscar for this, and like for his long like nearly like 40 year career, over 40 years he's been working.
Cool. Wow.
But yeah, we've talked a lot about Cruise this time. Obviously Mission Impossible ended this year.
We did the cruise episode.
Um, we did the Cruise episode. Obviously, yeah, I think say what you will about the guy, but I think his commitment to movies and the craft of movies, I think, is admirable. And
And doing his own
that is something I
stunts.
do. Yeah, doing his own stuff. I do like. I know we kind of joke about it, but that is something I do respect a lot
Yeah,
that he
he does
does.
some crazy stuff.
That is really cool. Yeah. A couple of the little bits. Spider-Man Noir series. Nick Cage.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the poster for this?
I have not, no.
Well, you will. Our audience will when we put it on the screen now. But yeah. So obviously the series with Nicolas Cage, the kind of live action series. I think it's live action.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but coming to Amazon Prime, I think.
I think it's Prime, yeah.
I think it's Prime. Yeah, but that's got a new poster. And it looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to
Yeah,
this.
me too. Because I mean,
Yeah,
as much as I've obviously said that I'm not a huge fan of the Spider-Verse films, obviously I like the first one more, and that definitely has nothing to
yeah.
do with Cage being in it. But I'm really
No, it's
excited
John
for
Mulaney.
this.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, true.
Yeah.
Spider-Ham should have been in the second one, but
Did
yeah.
that feel like a cartoon? I love Spider-Ham. He's amazing.
But yeah, I
I
mean,
just wash my hands. That's why they're wet.
But
I
yeah,
fucking love
I'm really looking
Spider-Verse.
forward to seeing Spider
Yeah.
Noir. It'd be really cool to see Nick Cage as a superhero again. I don't know if he's done many TV shows actually. I think a lot of those
I
big
can't
action
think of.
stars don't do many TV shows. I mean, obviously, Sly and Arnie have only
Mhm.
just recently got into TV shows. Arnie did Fubar,
Yeah.
Sly did Tulsa King. Season
Yeah.
3 is out now, by the way. I don't
Oh
think I
yeah.
ever mentioned that. Nick Cage is now doing Spider-Man Noir, and I think that's really cool. I think it'll be cool to see
It's
what
interesting. Yeah.
direction they go in with him, if it's going to be more kind of what kind of like vibe they're going to give it, if it's going to be more like I don't know, maybe more detective-y or maybe more of like a noir, obviously noir crime kind of thing. What's
Like a
his
sort of gangster
Spider-Man going to be?
thriller.
Yeah, it could be kind of like that. I'm
Mhm.
interested to see what they're going to do with this.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential with it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. And I think the fact that even though it's based on an animated film intended for like younger audiences, you could go a bit more adult. I say adult, but like, you could go a bit, a bit more
Bit more,
violent and a
yeah,
bit more
bit more mature.
mature. That's
Yes.
yeah. I think there's potential with that. Yeah.
And plus, obviously, it's Nick Cage. I mean, when is he not given 100% to a performance? You know he's going to do everything he can with it. For better or worse, he's going to do everything he can with it. But
Yes, that's true.
yeah, I think it's one of the things I did prefer more about the first Spider-Verse was I think the variants of Spider-Mans that they had in that film I liked more than the variants of Spider-Man in the second film. I liked Spider-Noir, Spider-Ham,
Hmm.
Penny Parker,
Penny Parker. Yeah. Yeah.
the kind of like the original Peter Parker as well.
Yeah.
I like those variants more than say Spider-Punk and
I
Spider-Man
mean,
2099, and I like
I
Indian
mean, as much.
Spider-Man. Indian Spider-Man was cool.
Mhm.
But
I mean, I know you're not a big fan of like Hobie and Miguel as much. And I do prefer the Into the Spider-Verse cast, but I think Into the Spider-Verse is a more airtight film. But I personally still love Across Spider-Verse. I do love Hobie. I love Miguel. I find them interesting characters, and I enjoy them personally. But it's all a matter of opinion. It's okay.
yeah, well, one day we'll have the very heated discussion on
Oh
these
God.
films. One
Oh God.
day.
Yeah. We're building. Oh, we will. Yeah.
Maybe
I've got.
maybe when the third one comes out.
Yeah, can we spotlight that and then just have like a full? That's the end of the podcast. It's a bloodbath and just like, oh, yeah, there we go.
We're going to war over this.
Going to war. I've got one more. Sorry, I have got one more before we kill ourselves over Spider-Verse. I've got one more bit of
Okay.
movie news. This the other day as well, so very recent, and
Okay.
it's to do with the feet man himself, Quentin Tarantino.
The
Right.
feet man himself.
Oh yes, yes, that's his shtick.
It is, but I just wasn't expecting that.
I'm a feet man. Oh Jesus wept. But
Oh,
he's been making the rounds a little bit recently
okay.
because so Tarantino that's what he is. He's done a lot of podcasts. He appeared on a lot of podcasts and
Can we
whatnot.
get him
We
on
might
our
get him on the
podcast? Can we get him on?
no because
At
no
him on
because he won't let us
Instagram.
get
Let's
a
get him on.
because I mean first of all he doesn't have Instagram and second he won't let us get a word in.
Yeah,
Right.
but still.
Maybe, yeah, we could get some clout. But he appeared recently on the Bret Easton Ellis podcast. Bret Easton Ellis, he's the writer of American Psycho and a lot of the novels and whatnot.
Okay.
But he went on there and Tarantino gave his list of the top 20 films of the 21st century so far.
Ooh,
Uh, some of
okay.
these some of these include Spielberg's West Side Story, School of Rock, Shaun of the Dead, obviously which we've spotlighted, Mad Max Fury Road, Zodiac, Dunkirk, which we've also spotlighted, Lost in Translation, Toy Story 3, Black Hawk Down, and the main one that's kind of caused a bit of sting, There'll Be Blood, the Paul Thomas Anderson film that stars Daniel Day-Lewis, which he won an Oscar for, but also features Paul Dano as a supporting role. And Tarantino made some very unkind comments about Paul Dano, basically calling him the weakest actor in SAG and how if it weren't for his weak performance, the film would be the number one of the 21st century.
Oh, wow.
And and it's like, whoa, okay, tell us how you really feel. I kind of conflicted because, like, on the one hand, I kind of do respect just kind of saying it how you feel and just kind of not just cheerleading all the time and kind of being a bit critical. But also, I think the way that it comes across and he's saying that Paul Dano is like the weak source of that film, and it just kind of feels a bit obnoxious, a bit mean spirited, and just not particularly yeah, it's not particularly constructive, mate. And I think the more look, I love Tarantino's movies. He's one of my favorite directors, but as a person, I do kind of find him a bit obnoxious if I'm going to be honest. Like he does have that kind of snobbish. vibe sometimes when it comes to what he says about films and whatnot. And
Yeah.
the whole thing with it as well with his 10th film, like constantly, like he's not going to make anything after that, but he keeps delaying it. He had an idea, then he scrapped it. It's like just make something, all right? Because like it's very clear that you don't want to stop after 10, but having this art, it's just it's
Yeah.
just kind of obnoxious. I can't lie. And sometimes when he's trying to say like it kind of feels like rage bait a lot of the time. It's like he's trying to say these wild hot takes. Like Joker 2 was amazing. He unironically said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying that like Todd Phillips was like the Joker in the way that he like tricked us all and what are you on about, dude? What are you on about? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was but actually in terms of like the other films, actually, what do you think of some of those picks that he had?
Toy Story 3.
At number two as well.
That was at number two as well. Okay, that may be a bit little high,
Yeah.
but Toy Story 3 is good.
Yeah, I love Toy
It's
Story. Yeah, Black Hawk Down. He said Black Hawk Down was his favorite. I have not seen Black Hawk Down to be fair.
no, me neither.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see Shaun of the Dead in there.
Shaun of the Dead, yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, that's at number nine. That is. And School of Rock as well. That's a choice.
Yeah, that is a choice.
I love School of Rock though. Yeah, that's at number 14
All I can
on his
say
list.
based on this list is that he's clearly not watched Ricky Stenicki.
No, yeah, he's clearly not. I think we've got to educate him a bit more. I
Yeah.
think we have.
That said about that is quick little segue here. Obviously, we don't normally cover sports, but wrestling. John Cena is obviously a wrestler in the WWE.
Yeah.
That's how he got a start. As we're recording, 1 week from today, he is having his final match and will be retiring from
Oh
wrestling.
shit.
Yeah, his
He's
entire
still going to be acting
yeah, he's going to be acting probably more so now that he doesn't have to deal with
and still
wrestling. But
and still in Amazon Originals, right?
yeah, of course. But yeah, he's retiring from wrestling next week, and this year has been a
Damn.
wild run for him because he's come back at the start of the year and said, "I'm retiring at the end of the year. I've got this many dates that I'm going to turn up for, and I want to win the title of WrestleMania." He does his whole thing. I mentioned back in February or March episode that he did a heel turn and he turned bad for like the first time in
Oh yeah.
many years. I like since like the early 2000s. Like since then, he'd always been like the good guy of the company. Um, WrestleMania happened. He won his title, albeit it involved the guy who's responsible for that theme song. I don't know why he was there.
Okay.
Then he went back to doing face stuff, and he's been having this really cool run since of just doing these like really kind of overbloated fun matches that just gets everyone excited. And then yeah, this Saturday he's coming. He's got his final match, and then he is done with wrestling. And I'm guessing we'll see him in more movies soon on that
Well,
basis.
yeah.
But I just think it's really cool because obviously we talk about John Cena quite a bit every now and then.
Yeah.
So I thought just give him a shout. He's had a great run in the WWE, and so I think it's really cool that he's doing
And an
this.
even better run in Amazon Originals that's starting.
Yeah, but I think it really speaks to how good of a person John Cena is that for this last pay-per-view this weekend coming, the management offered to do a 2 hour tribute show for him. And he
Mhm.
decided, no, don't even give me the main event. John Cena is going to be the opening match, and every match afterwards is going to involve people on kind of newbies in the company against kind of
Yeah.
established stars to kind of give them a platform. So I think that's just
Okay.
really cool that John Cena is kind of doing that, whereas a lot of other people would have taken the 2 hour tribute. But
The ego trip, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I
I
think
respect
just
that a
in
lot.
general, John Cena just seems like a really great guy. So
I always get that vibe from him.
yeah.
And
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
he's done more like Make-A-Wish things than anybody apparently. He's got like the highest
Mhm.
number of Make-A-Wish kid stuff. So I think it'd be really nice to see. I'm interested to see what he's going to do next because obviously we had Peacemaker season 2 not too long ago, which was really
Oh yeah.
cool. I really enjoyed that. So I'm interested to see where he goes, if he's going to turn up in any more DC movies soon. Maybe in I think is there another Superman kind of movie coming soon that he might be in? I don't know.
I think
Man of
so.
Tomorrow,
I don't know.
but
Maybe, yeah.
yeah. So I'll be interested where he goes next. But I just thought I'd give John Cena the shout for a very long and good career. Hopefully, we'll get more movies out of him. And yeah, he just seems
Hopefully.
like a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect to the Cena.
Yeah.
And I believe that's everything. for
Yes, it
part one.
is. So now we can
So
crack on
now,
with the spotlight
Wicked
for good.
for good. We will also talk about we'll also talk briefly about the first one, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. So if my mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Not you. We're talking about Wicked. There's the Broadway poster. That's when I went to see the show in London. They had the poster.
We're really hit
You
the
could buy.
pose.
Just screen grab that.
Screen
Yeah,
grabbing it
but yeah,
instantly.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, but yeah, so obviously OG Broadway poster. But yeah, Wicked for Good, the second part of the Wicked film adaptation, with the first one coming out last year, and it's very much both films are both acts of the show split into two, which
Yeah.
I think works. Yeah,
Let's preface this as usual with spoiler warning for both
spoilers
movies
for
here.
both parts. Yeah,
So if you don't want to
because
hear
we
it, skip to part three, timestamp.
yeah.
But the spoiler warning out of the way with, I want to start with my favorite part of the movie is when the Wizard of Oz says something wicked this way comes, and then Elphaba comes in and says it's wickeding time, and wicked's all over everybody. Yeah, wicked.
No, my favorite my favorite part was when this person showed up. The rubber duck of Alphabet.
Alpha Quack.
Defying quackity. Okay, let's briefly talk about the first one. Now we've mentioned it a few times,
Yeah,
in
yeah, we've
fairness.
not been foreshadowing
Yeah.
this in the slightest. No.
Oh no, 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 no. This is not the Minecraft movie sequel, of course not. It's the Wicked sequel.
Yes, but yeah, we have
Yeah.
kind of been building up
Yeah.
to this without even realizing
Yeah.
it. The same way we did with Minecraft. We just kind of slowly
Yeah.
talked about it over a few episodes, and it just kind
Yeah.
of built up, and then it ended up being a thing. We
Yeah.
went and we watched it together. We did
Watched
the little
together.
trailer for it.
It got
You
a
know,
little trick. Yeah, exactly.
it was just like
But
Minecraft.
obviously, oh yeah, but better.
Yeah, this one had
Like,
they both had green characters. This one had Alphabet, and the other one had Chicken Jockey. So
oh yeah, true.
yeah, they're both very
That is
colorful
true.
films
Yeah.
in a world that
Both
isn't
have
Earth.
both have a star with the letter J in their name. Jack Black, Jeff Goldblum.
Same, yeah, JB. Yeah, they're
That's where
totally the
the
same.
parallels end.
Totally, yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah. That's
definitely
where it is. That's where it
yeah,
is. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, we first talked about the first film. I think last December you mentioned it as in
Obviously,
part
yeah,
one of oh I watched this,
yeah,
and then you mentioned it again in the Oscars episode. I think 'cause I think it may have won a couple of
yeah.
awards,
It
costume
won
design maybe.
costume and production. It won costume and production, but also got nominated for a lot, including Best Picture, Best
Yes,
Actor and Supporting Actress for Cynthia and Ariana. And Ariana was snubbed by that Amelia Perez bullshit.
you're still not over it.
Oh, it's been
Still
oh,
not
it's been a
over it.
long time. It's been a long time, baby, since I ripped to Amelia Perez. But yeah,
Oh
um,
wow, that's
I,
a
I,
throwback.
I, the first film was it was kind of an odd build up to the first film, and it was an unexpected smash hit. Like the
Yes.
hype around it was mad, and it took me by surprise. And I was like, I love this so much, because I said I hadn't seen the stage show at the time. I only saw that this year in the summer, but I had obviously seen the Wizard of Oz that it's based on, and I have that kind of attachment to it. And I fell in love with songs, with the world of Oz, and how it's really fleshed it out. Because it's such a great world, and I love what it's expanded on in the Wicked story. Um, and just the story of Elphaba, this othered character, finding a friend with Glendet, but also ultimately being made the public enemy number one, being made the straw man, by the wizard, who is a bit of a fraud, and he's the true kind of evil power behind it. Really, I just think it does take, because these things are kind of present. The whole wizard being a fraud, it's present in the original film to a degree. This just builds on it. And I love that. And that leads us into part two, where they're out of university. They're kind of, Elper is, as I say, public enemy number one. Um, Glinda and Fiera, they are public officials in the land of Oz. And and then it sort of parallels with the events of the Wizard of Oz. So where do we start?
Well, I think the first thing is to start with here is probably the thing I found probably best about these two films was visuals.
Yeah.
Very first one, very colorful, a lot of very nice
Hmm.
visuals, a lot of moving parts in a lot of the scenes and everything. Second one, still as good visually, a lot of kind of darker colors to match
Yeah.
the tone of the
Bit more
film, which I
moody.
kind of
Yeah.
liked.
It's a
It's
much dark. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I
The
think
tone of
visually great
the tone of the
films.
second, I would agree with a caveat, which I've mentioned, I talked about to you,
Yeah, we had a good
because a lot of
discussion
people,
after the film
yeah,
about
you
all
did to
of
be
it.
fair. Yeah, but we have with both films, the lighting and the overexposure has often been pointed out as a bit of a flaw, and then it kind of looks, yeah, visually, the costumes, production, it all looks great, but the lighting doesn't really do it justice a lot of the time. And it's not a deal breaker for me, but I do see that, especially in the first film now. And I think
Mm,
the second film, it's still there to an extent. But I think with the darker, more somber tone, you have a lot more scenes that are a bit more atmospheric. Like when Alpha goes into the wizard's basement where all the animals are in cages and whatnot, the kind of light that's just seeping from the doorway, it's quite atmospheric and quite, picturesque. I think No Good Deed looks great. The kind of hellish landscape. I think that looks really good. I love Wonderful as a number. The kind of rainbow like lights that sort of circle around
yeah.
the wizard's room. I think that looks, yeah, visuals are great, and I say the set design is amazing. The costumes are fantastic. You know, there is so much here. I really do love the visual style of these films, with the caveat of the lighting. But as I say, it's not a deal breaker for me, and I do think in the second film it is slightly improved,
Leading
like
into
broadly speaking.
leading into visuals, there's some interesting camera work in the second film that I recall.
Hmm.
Particularly one scene was when you have Glinda's wedding and Elphaba kind of exploring the basement with the
Yeah,
trapped animals, kind of being like almost like parallel to each
parallel.
other.
Yeah,
Like there's some cool
obviously,
visual stuff there with the way they
obviously,
film.
like it's like her obviously walking down the aisle and whatnot, and then the sort of aisle in the basement is lit by the door. So it creates that visual parallel. I did really like that sequence. I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah,
And
it's
also
really nice
how,
contrast there.
yeah, conscious with like the dark and the uplifting and whatnot. I will say that in terms of like sort of the filmmaking, which again is something that people pointed out with the first film. It's the direction in terms of like the blocking of the actors, and people point this out with the first one. I didn't really pick up on it then, because I wasn't looking for it. But people are pointing out how some of the blocking and staging of where the actors are, particularly some of the numbers, can feel a bit flat. And I didn't really notice it as much for the first one, but here, because I had that in mind, a couple of the numbers did feel like that. Like As Long As You're Mine, which is Fiona and Elphba's like romantic duet. That song is phenomenal. Jonathan Bailey, Cynthia Erivo sing it amazingly. It's one of my favorite songs from Act Two. But the blocking is really awkward. Like it's meant to be very intimate, but they feel so far apart, and it's just kind of, because it's in Elphba's like sort of treehouse kind of domain. It doesn't feel quite coherent. I'm kind of, it's a bit awkward, and I think also for good when Glinda and Elphaba are just stood next to each other. It's not particularly dynamic, you know. And I think and yeah, yes, you can have the stillness, and that can be powerful. But I think in film you can't always rely on that. On stage you can, but on film you've got to make it a little. You need to have a little bit of that movement, just a little bit more, because it kind of just looks a bit stilted, a little bit. But there are some really good, numbers that are directed well. I say "Wonderful" was very good, and that's even a song I love in the musical. But it's a well staged here. No Good Deed. I think No Good Deed is the best overall number from this film in terms of the song's amazing. Cynthia sings her heart out in it, and I say that the visuals like are really good. With her kind of finally embracing her wickedness in that moment, and all the hellish landscapes, and it's that great final shot of her flying with all the monkeys around surrounding. It's a really great visual visually, it's a great number, and the singing's fantastic too.
Yeah, that was. I think that is one of the ones I remember being better. I was like, that was a
Yeah,
really kind of cool moment in it. I think overall, as we discussed, I preferred the second movie a bit more because I liked the kind of
yeah,
more darker tones of it. For me, the
yeah.
brief summary with the first film is I felt it was a little too long, but then like the final act
Hmm.
of it, I thought was really cool when they started building up the idea of, oh, the wizard's kind of a fraud. They're gonna kind of
Hmm.
paint Elphaba as the main villain here. And then the second film
Yeah.
follows on with that. And I like the darkness of the second film. I like the way it ties in all the characters from The Wizard of Oz. Because as I mentioned, I've not seen The Wizard
Mhm.
of Oz, but I
That's
know
right.
the
Yeah.
story. I know the
Yeah.
characters.
Everybody knows those characters. Yeah.
And
Now
seeing
this
like
is.
how they create the Tin Man, how they create the
Mhm.
Scarecrow, who looks suspiciously like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. What the hell was that?
Why
What the
does
hell?
the
What?
Scarecrow look like Ryan Reynolds?
That's so weird. It's so weird. I don't
It's
get it.
uncanny. It's completely uncanny. It looks exactly like him. But
It's ridiculous.
yeah, just
But
seeing
yeah.
the especially the Tin Man one. I think that was probably the best kind of transformation for me
Yeah.
was that. And they made it look really cool with the fact I think it was mostly practical as well, wasn't it? It was
Yeah. I
you
think so. Yeah.
know, I think it was really clever how they took this alternate perspective of what created the characters to be the way they are.
Mhm.
You know, I really like that kind of
Yeah.
build around it.
Mhm. I think that's the main point with the whole show because even dating back to the stage show with this, that whole thing of like linking it directly with the Wizard of Oz, almost playing it parallel to the events of the Wizard of Oz film. That's the main point of kind of division with the story of Wicked, with the show and also the film as well. Because some of it, there are certain things in it that I kind of like. Obviously you kind of have to make some concessions. It's like, oh, the Scarecrow is in love with the Wicked Witch, and he was in university with the Tin Man and Glinda. Like you kind of have to make some concessions, but I like to treat Wicked just as its own kind of separate version. I try not to kind of say, oh, it's specifically the Wizard, directly tied. It's just kind of a different, like almost fan fiction version of it in a sense. But with Bok being the Tin Man, with Fiero being the Scarecrow, those are kind of revelations I don't mind because they're embedded into their characters. Like with Fiero, his kind of carefree attitude, in the first act, obviously dancing through life, certain lyrics like "life's more painless for the brainless." It's embedded in the character. And obviously, the second film, he becomes the captain of the Guard of Oz, and that's his Scarecrows guard fields away from crows and whatnot. So to me, that works. That because they've embedded it into the character, it works. And I think with Bok as well, becoming the Tin Man, obviously the Tin Man doesn't have a heart, heartless. And obviously the way Bok is, he's very kind of creepy. He wants to be with Glinda because he fancies her, but he then goes with Nessa Rose purely kind of out of just pity. So he doesn't really love her as such, and it's that kind of thing of almost like the villain gets their comeuppance kind of their own undoing. Sorry. And also as well, the transformation scenes, the way that they're edited, they almost kind of feel horror movie-esque. And I think that's something that the film
Yes.
does very well to translate that. It's with some of the other connections with the Wizard of Oz. The main one I had to take issue with, and I take issue with it in the stage show. I take issue with this. It's the wizard being Elphaba's father. I take issue with that
It
because
really comes out of nowhere. There's
it
not
comes
very
like
much build up except for just like the little bottle, and
the
even
great.
then, it's
Yeah,
just
it's very that feels very arbitrary, like Chekhov's gun setup that doesn't feel very earned. And the thing is, though, even again, it's that kind of thing. You have to do the whole like, oh, the wizard. You kind of recontextualize the Wizard of Oz. The wizard is actually Elphaba's father. It's just like, eh. But even if taking like the Wizard of Oz continuity aside, as a in terms of just the narrative and the characters of this story, I still don't find it compelling because, I mean, first of all, Elphaba's not even in the scene. It's Glinda who finds out. So you don't get any reaction from Elphaba of like how she would feel about it. So the character emotion just isn't there. And again, narratively, you say, yeah, it comes out of nowhere because it's just like a very arbitrary setup with the bottle. And then it's just over before you can even process it because the wizard's now off in his hot air balloon.
I
And it's
kind
like, you
of
don't.
get what they're trying to do though, because like they're trying to give the kind of perspective that the wizard vilified his own daughter without realizing, and I get they're kind of trying to do something there, but it
I still don't
doesn't
think it
pay
works.
off that well.
Mhm. I don't think it works. And I think, again, there's that very little time to actually process it before on to the next thing and whatnot. And as well, it kind of does that like Rise of Skywalker, Rey is
Oh
Palpatine's
God.
granddaughter thing, where it makes the world feel smaller. And I don't enjoy that. And I think it takes away an element that is really great about Elpha's character throughout the whole thing, is that, a character who has been othered. And, obviously a lot of minority groups can read into that. And there's been a lot of, people who've read into that in different ways and whatnot. And I think it removes that sense of like Elphaba could kind of represent anybody in the audience
Mm.
in a sense. When it's like, oh, she has to be tied to the fucking wizard. It's like it just takes away that sense of anyone can identify with Elphaba because anybody can be othered, in that sense.
I think it
And
was having a twist for the sake of having a twist.
yeah, it does feel like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, I know that might sound quite negative. I don't hate the film because it's purely because those little parts I am quite passionate about. The rest of the film and the actual story, I do love. Even though personally, I prefer the first one because I feel like the first one, again, doesn't really have these flaws of like trying to awkwardly sort of cram elements of the Wizard of Oz and tie it in that don't fully make sense and don't feel earned. I personally like the longer runtime of the first one because I feel like it gives time to breathe and kind of to bask in this, interesting world and whatnot. And I just find the story of, you start from a kind of low point with Elphaba being othered, and then she finds people like with Glenda and whatnot, like Fiyero, she finds people, but then you've got like the rise of the wizards power and influence, and how he's planning, his plan is kind of coming to fruition. You've also got the stuff with the animals as well. It's very much like a metaphor for, authoritarianism and, taking away freedom of speech. The fact that the animals cannot talk, losing their voices. That's very much a metaphor for that. And I just think a lot of those themes that are carried on in the second film, I do really enjoy that sort of stuff. Um, but also the emotional core of Elphaba and Glinda I do find incredibly powerful. These two friends who broke apart, and there is some humor with it, like their little broomstick one fight. That was really funny, and that got a good laugh in the audience as well that we watched it with. That was something as well.
We had an
The audience was quite
interesting
responsive.
audience. We had a
Yeah,
we had
I
an
mean,
interesting audience.
yeah,
I think one of my
that was.
favorite
We
parts of the
can,
entire movie was when someone on the front row was just yapping and the person like next to him just went, "Shut up!"
yeah, it was
Killed
fucking
me.
annoying. That was. Yeah, it was. No, it was. No, it wasn't. Yeah. But I think we were like, thank God for that. But it's, as long as your mind when Jonathan Bailey took his shirt off, people were like, ooh, oh, you know.
Steamy.
Yeah, and then I said a few bits where people found it funny. There was the one that made me laugh was when the wizard is revealed, like just before. There was somebody like sat next to you who were like, "Oh, it's a dad." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was quite funny for me because obviously I knew what was coming, so it was like hearing people kind of like these reveals. It's like, oh, it's
Mm.
this, and whatnot. Yeah, that was quite funny.
But that said,
Um,
a note on theatre etiquette. We had some people come in halfway through the movie. They walked across from where it says, "Went, is this the movie?" And then next thing you know, they just left, and it's like, what? Why? What? How? What? How are
no,
you this late to the movie?
do,
It's been an hour already. How
yeah.
are you this late?
John, Jonathan Bailey's already taken his shirt off.
What are you doing? How have we got
Yeah, I
here?
don't know.
But no, I think this movie was one where we had an audience that were maybe a little too disruptive at times. Like as I said earlier, there were
Possibly,
people
yeah.
at the front speaking a lot during the movie.
Hmm.
I mean, we had people just coming in and leaving constantly, but you
Yeah.
know, wasn't as bad as some other films. Like Minecraft Crowd was like, we had these people sitting on the stairs and whatever, and kids running up and
People, the
down.
fuck. Yeah, what was that? What was
But
that about?
either way, I mean, I guess Wicked is somewhat a more family friendly movie that you would have younger audiences going. But just when you go to the cinema,
Yeah.
I feel like you should have that bit more of etiquette, keep the kids under
Hmm.
control. Like it's
Yeah.
okay to react to things in the movie,
Yeah.
but constantly talking just isn't necessary. Running
Yeah.
in and out, running up and down the stairs, whatever, it's not
You don't need to be doing
necessary.
that.
You
You don't
don't
need to be
need to
doing
be
that.
doing that. There's rare exceptions, like with the chicken jockey thing. We all knew that was happening, and that was kind of the
Yeah.
point of it. But
Everyone's in on the joke.
normally, just I think like I think it's just been something that's gotten worse since COVID is movie etiquette. But I don't want to
I would say
waste too
so, yeah.
much time on this. But I just thought we'd mention that audience because part of watching the movie is the experience, and that's the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Because obviously this time we watched it together.
Yes, we watched it together, which is the third time we've done that now. We did Deadpool,
Yeah.
Wolverine, Minecraft, and Wicked for Good. That's a interesting trilogy of
It
films.
sure is, yeah. But But yeah, it was a good. I like. Yeah, it was kind of a mixed experience, I would say,
Yeah, but overall,
in
I
lots of the way.
actually I quite liked this movie because as I mentioned before, I wasn't the biggest fan of part one, but I thought I liked it enough
Mm,
that I'll watch part two because I know you really want to see it, and
yeah.
I did drag you to Deadpool, and Wolverine, and Minecraft. So, but
I get I get my turn. This is my turn.
yes, but next time it's my turn. But
Okay. Well, it's going to be Super Mario, isn't
Mario
it?
Galaxy, yeah, defo. But
Mario Galaxy, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's but yeah, it was a good experience. I enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. And obviously, I've never seen
Mm.
Wizard of Oz, as we mentioned. I've never seen the stage show of
Mhm.
Wicked. So it was interesting having the different perspective of seeing this for the
Yeah.
first time compared to you know what's going to happen, you know the original story, you know how it all ties
Yeah.
together. But
Mhm. But I,
overall, it was. I'm glad we watched it. I mean, it was still
yeah.
a good movie. It was better than quite a few
Yeah.
things that have come out this year.
And I think it really did because that's the hype from part one. You know, it was this massive success, nominated for all these awards. Really kind of became a bit of a juggernaut from last year, and it was like I was very excited for Wicked for Good, and I was thinking I was just hoping that it didn't disappoint. And I am just really glad that even if I do prefer part one a little bit, I'm really glad that Wicked for Good sticks the land. And I think it's the flaws of this film. They're more just flaws from the stage show that just you know become they get translated into the film. The film can't really help that as such,
Oh yeah.
and I understand that. So naturally, I was going to prefer part one, which I don't really have any narrative flaws with as such, personally. But no, overall, I do love the conclusion of Wicked. I love especially the emotional stuff with Alpha and Glinda, their friendship kind of reuniting in the end. Because even though I critiqued For Good as a number in terms of how it looked and the direction, that song is absolutely beautiful. I adore it, and I think lyrically as well, just purely based on the actual lyrics, I would say that For Good is probably the best song of the show. Not the best overall song, that is Defying Gravity, obviously, but I think lyrically For Good is incredibly poignant and bittersweet, and I think that's the overall tone of this film. It's less grand, and it's the emotions aren't as visceral as part one, which is why I probably prefer part one. But it's a much more somber, bittersweet outing, and I think it works.
Yeah. The only other thing I've got to ask, the
Yeah,
very final scene of the movie is a recreation of
yeah,
the Broadway
where they
poster, but
recreate, where
I gotta
they
ask though,
recreate.
what is she whispering to her? That's what I want to know. What did she whisper to her?
I've now I've actually been in touch with Stephen Schwartz who created the original musical. Big insider scoop here. I've actually been in touch with them. I've been in touch with John M. Chu who directs the film, Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and I can actually report back on what they said. You know, this is I managed to get this inside scoop for this episode, and they're like, so at the very end, when Ariana Grande recreating that poster whispers into Cynthia's ear, she whispers. Go and follow the Double Feature podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
Absolute cinema, perfect.
To be fair, though, I did love the fact they had that last shot, and that was genius to have. I was like, I think I literally did the Leo DiCaprio point. I was like, oh,
Yeah, you did. You did.
yeah, I think, yeah, yeah. Like I'm very responsive and reactive when I watch stuff, and you can tell.
And you can tell I'm not because you were just looking at me because
Yeah,
I was just exact same expression as I was earlier.
yeah. I was like, is he dead?
My back was dead from that chair. Oh my God, that
Yeah,
chair was broken.
yeah, that chair wasn't very nice, was it?
No, no, it just reclined all
No.
the way, and then the guy behind or whatever kept kicking it, and it's like I can't sit upright. It's broken.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but no, I'm quite pulp face for a lot of things.
mhm,
So he was just looking at me constantly. I was just like,
yeah. I was like, I hope he's not hating this experience. Because I would feel really bad if you were.
but no, I did enjoy it. But yeah,
That's
yeah, no,
good,
you
yeah.
were full on. You were pointing. You went, oh, it's yeah, it's no, no,
Whenever you
I am
get like
interested.
whenever you
I'm interested in what did she say though? Actually,
yeah, that's what she said.
that's what she said.
Go follow. Not like that. Not like that. God damn it.
She was
I
making
mean,
that. That's what she said joke.
to be fair, to be fair, the amount of times that I've twisted your words to be rude that's kind of that's been coming to me for a long time.
It's
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I do love that final shot. It's great, and as I really really did enjoy this film, and it very much did stick the landing for me. So so overall, I guess like final thoughts.
Final
Actually,
thoughts.
here's one question. Actually, one more question. Favorite song from the film? Oh, actually,
Ooh.
okay, do one for Wicked for Good, and then do one for the whole show, maybe.
Hmm. Wicked for Good. I think. No Good Deed is up there.
I'm
Definitely.
more saying it's just on the pure like the actual song. Um,
Just the
but would you say
song
no?
itself.
Yeah,
Don't know. I think you are right that lyrically for good might be it, but I think in terms
yeah.
of I don't know, I kind of like the whole vibe of is it Wonderful? Yeah, I think
Wonderful.
that's
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
really cool kind of vibe to it. But I think
What's quite cool as well with
overall,
the
oh
I
yeah,
say
yeah.
what's quite cool with Wonderful as well. In the stage show, it is just the Wizard and Elf, but they added Glinda in the film, which I think is kind of cool.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think that really
it's
works.
interesting. It's
But I like Wonderful. Yeah,
I think overall Defying Gravity has so much power behind it, but
yeah,
that's on top.
yeah. Defying Gravity is definitely it's definitely the song of the show, and I think it's one of the most iconic songs in musical theatre, especially the 21st century. Maybe even like full time. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I heard that song long before I watched Wicked, so it's
Hmm.
I didn't know any of the other songs, but
Yeah, even goddamn, Shrek the musical. Even that does a little parody of Defying Gravity with Fartford's song. He does it at the very end. He does a little like a whoa. He does like a little homage to that. It's quite cool.
it's
If only Shrek the musical did more of that instead of the shit that it does, because it is a shit musical.
I have seen it.
It's shit.
It's
I was
I.
in it. I was in it.
Oh
It was my last school show.
yeah.
I was Papa Bear. Yeah.
But
It
yeah,
was fun to be in.
overall,
It was quite fun to be in, but it
yeah,
is a kind of shit musical to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, though,
But yeah, overall, wicked for good.
I'll give it a maybe 6.5 out of 10. Like I said, not my general cup of tea as a movie. I mean, I'm not. Let's say as an overall, but both parts together, probably is
Hmm.
like 6.5 out of 10. Not my general cup of tea of a movie. But
Okay,
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But
that's
um,
good.
but yeah, so I'm gonna put it there. Put it there. But I think this was a really nice one to wrap up this year of the podcast with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm going to go with, to me, I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. And just for the record, the first film I give a 9 personally. As you know, I
Yeah.
really loved it. I just, I think sometimes, so many times, musical to movie adaptations can be quite botched. You can get, a
Cats.
star-studded cast that can't really sing. And you kind of have that with Michelle Yeoh. As much as I love her as an actress, I don't really think her singing's up to scratch in the
Oh yeah,
film.
no, she was
And
definitely the weak link of the singing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I say I love her as an actor, but I don't really think she was right for the role,
That
which is a
said,
shame, but
interesting thing about her characters, people were saying Madame Morrible, MM, turn it upside down, WW, Wicked
oh
Witch.
yeah.
I thought that was quite
Oh
funny,
yeah.
but
I have seen that, yeah. It's quite cool, yeah. But yeah, I just love the fact that, you've got the right you for the most part, they cast and obviously the roles that you want it to be cast right are cast right. People who can sing, people who can act, people who can act, sorry. People who can have that range of like a lot of the comedy. There's a lot of humor in this show, but also that kind of emotional weight. Like Ariana Grande blew me away with. I was so surprised of the comedy, but also the kind of the melancholy underneath and all the kind of especially in this film. A lot of that kind of hurt and pain like underneath. I thought that was really really powerful. And same with Cynthia. Jonathan Bailey did great. Like the whole cast, like overall, Jeff Goldblum, even though he's not the greatest singer, but I think he works. I think he captures the Wizards' vibe perfectly. So I don't mind that he's not the strongest singer. And to be fair, his songs aren't the big songs of the show, so it doesn't matter that much. Yeah, yeah. Actually, also, I was thinking with the Wizard, did you notice the Great Dictator reference when he's kicking
I
the
didn't when we watched
balloon?
it, but you sent me
The real,
an
yeah,
Insta reel of it, and I thought that was
yeah.
quite interesting, but they'd made that
No,
kind of link.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that when we watched it. I was like, oh, is that meant to be a Great Detective reference? But it works as well because I say, you know, the wizard is meant to obviously in that Great Detective film, Chaplin is playing, a sort of Hitler stand-in in that film,
Yeah,
as a dictator. And that is kind of the vibe that the wizard is. He's very, this authoritarian, controls everything. That's the vibe. But there is kind of that humorous element to both. And I think that's quite cool.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent, but yeah, overall thoughts, sorry. I got a lot to say about it. That's the thing. I'm very passionate about this duology. And I think I just love the fact that this event, this cinematic event that spans this past year, I just love I just love that it really has come together and it's this kind of unabashed, translation of the stage show to the screen that doesn't really feel botched. It doesn't feel like restrained creatively. It's just kind of setting out what it is to. And yes, it's not everybody's cup of tea because not everybody is into musical theatre. Not everybody, not everybody's into Wicked as well. But it's kind of, it caters to that audience of like, it's unabashedly ashamed, unabashedly just, here we go. This is Wicked. And yeah, that's so overall, yeah, I'm going to give part two an 8 out of 10 and then part one a 9. So I guess on average, 8.5 because that's how maths works. But yeah, those are my thoughts with Wicked, and I'm really glad that we got to go see it together, and yeah, I'm really glad that I saw this one together. So because I watched the first one on my own, and I really wish that I had watched it with somebody else because I think, it's about sharing. That's one that you want to watch with people. It's a crowd pleaser, so I'm really glad that we got to watch together, and it's kind of come full circle a bit.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's all I got for
That's
Wicked
part
for Good.
two. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I think this is the kind of perfect one to end the year, and it felt like again, it felt appropriate as like the finale almost
yeah,
to to wrap the year up with. Sorry, but yeah,
yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's segueing on a little bit here. We've gone from Wicked for Good, which is a musical, and part three we're going to discuss musicals. So we
some
will
musical movies, yeah,
musical movies. Yeah.
yeah,
So since
five,
we're
six,
talking
seven,
about
eight,
uh, since we're talking about musicals, this was your suggestion for part three.
yeah.
Would you like to kick off, or shall I? What do you want to do?
Uh, don't mind really. Could do. Don't have a yeah. So yeah, I thought Wicked for Good. It's a musical. Part three, we'll spotlight some classic musical movies. Obviously, some of these are original musicals to film. Some of them are based on existing things like mainly, obviously Broadway musicals or even concept albums. That's a hint
Oh,
to one of mine
okay.
because there have been musicals obviously based on albums and like concept albums before. Think Jesus Christ Superstar. That's not one of mine, but I have got one that is based on that, so we'll get to that soon. But yeah, there's musicals, they're great. There's been some iconic ones over the years, and especially like back in the 20th century, there's a lot of iconic ones. In fact, all of mine are from the 20th century that I've got here. But you still get some,
Okay.
obviously Wicked, but you still get some, you still get some good ones, afterwards. So there's plenty. I was really on my iron between quite a few. So we'll kick off. You know what? I'll kick off. I'll kick
Go
off
for
with
it.
one. I'll kick off with one that I have wanted to talk about for God knows how long. It is one of my favorite movies. Period. It's one of the most it's feel good films I've ever seen, and puts a smile on my face every time. It's singing in the rain. There we
Oh,
go, singing in
okay.
the rain. Yeah,
Yeah.
the 1952 classic, starring Gene Kelly, who also co-directed it with Stanley Donen. It's set in 1920s Hollywood at the rise of sound films coming about from the move from silent films to sound films, and it's about actors trying to make it in that transition. But that's the thing, everybody has heard of Singing in the Rain. Everybody knows that iconic song with Gene Kelly dancing in the rain, holding onto the lamppost. Everybody knows that. I've even got it on the thumbnail, I think.
Think you do, yeah.
Yeah, I put it on the thumbnail because it's like there's no. This is the one that I was absolutely dead set on talking about, and that's kind of the reason why I chose to do musicals because
Yeah.
I just, I just adore Singing in the Rain. It's just the thing is, it's not as it. The plot of it. I find it interesting because it's obviously about, it's a film about making films. It's that kind of industry. I love that kind of that era of like early cinema, like kind of when it was still developing. And obviously the transition from silent films to talkies as they're kind of dubbed, stuff like The Jazz Singer, which was the first talking film to be released in 1927. I think it's an interesting point of history in like Hollywood history. It's quite funny some of the ways that they're trying to adapt it, and it doesn't work. Like there's a funny scene where the director's trying to try multiple ways of trying to incorporate a microphone into the set, whether it's incorporate it into the set, incorporate it into the woman's costume, and it's like it doesn't work. And it's quite a funny scene. And we actually had to watch that scene in my film class when we studied silent films to show the kind of how tricky it was to incorporate that. But it's not the deepest film in the world, but it is just fun. It puts a smile on your face every single time. That, I said, that "Singing in the Rain" number with Gene Kelly, which apparently when he did that, he was ill when he was filming that sequence,
Oh.
and it's one of those moments of cinema that is just iconic. It's magic, and there's many times that I've just watched that scene on YouTube, and it's just put a smile on my face. Or there's the "Good Morning" song, which I think Family Guy did a parody of. Good morning to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from this. Yeah, I always remember the Family Guy version of it. But yeah, that again, I adore that song. Um, I say Gene Kelly as Don, and then you've got Cosmo, his best friend, who is just he's like the best side character in anything. He's so expressive. He's so like he does a lot of like dancing and whatnot. They do some great tap dancing together. Debbie Reynolds as Kathy, the love interest. She's great. You've got Lena, who's like the sort of bitchy sort of sort of diva actress. She's who's like kind of Don's sort of leading lady in a lot of films, and she's really funny. It's just an absolute blast. This film, so many great numbers. It's so vibrant. It's so colourful. I love how it links to like Hollywood history, and it is just a classic. And it's one of those films. It's like if people say that, I hate Singing in the Rain. No, you don't. You're just a liar if you say that. Because how can you hate this film? How can you?
Don't know.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, no, but
Yeah. I mean,
I've
obviously
seen the
you know
scene
the
of them singing in the rain, but I mean, I've
yeah,
seen that
everybody
scene.
has. Yeah.
Everyone has, but I haven't seen the
Yeah.
whole thing. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just a blast. And now I can finally refute the allegations that I hate fun in film. Yeah. Because it's not like it's really not that deep a film. It's just done so well. So Sing in the Rain. It's just that I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. So what's your first one? I'm genuinely really curious to hear what you've gone with. What have you gone
Let's
with?
get it out the way with because we can never escape it. Greece.
Greece.
It's massively in part because of us and the
Yeah.
fact that we did Greece, but yeah, I do
Or
have
that
a
we were
lot of
going to
fun
we were
with.
going to do it.
We were going to, you did it, and we were going to
Yeah.
do it, but it is a lot
Yeah.
because of that, and I've got my kind of my own sense of nostalgia from that. But
Yeah.
I do like the movie. I do like John Travolta's performance and everything, and I like I think the songs are good. That they're catchy. They've kind of I still remember
Mhm.
some of them even these years later. But
Yeah.
it's so I just figured, well, we gotta talk. We were gonna talk about Greece. You put it on the
Yeah.
thumbnail
Obviously.
already. I have to talk about Greece.
I think
You've
I
written
think
me
I
into this
kind of ba
corner.
I think I kind of badgered you into talking about it.
We had to
Um,
talk about it at some point, but
yeah.
because this is how we
Yeah.
met. We met through Greece. Danny was
That's how, yeah.
Danny, and
Yeah.
I was
Roger.
Roger. Roger.
He's not even Roger in the film, he's Putsy. He's not Roger.
Yeah, yeah, it's different in
Yeah.
the
That's
movie.
the thing. That's the thing, actually. The movie does change quite a bit to the stage show. And I remember watching the film when we were first doing it. I remember watching the film originally, and I wasn't that struck on it originally, and I still kind of feel like that. It's one of those like I love the show. It's not the best show in the world, but I obviously have a lot of that nostalgia and
Yeah.
sentimental value to it. But I think the thing is with the film, you've obviously got a lot of additions. I say they changed Roger's name for God's sake to
Yeah.
Putsy. Why would
And
you
they
do
cut
that?
his song about
Um,
mooning.
Mooning, yeah. Why would you do that? I mean, they
That
do
was
moon in the
gold.
dance. They do moon on TV in the dance contest bit, though.
Yes, they did. But
Yeah.
that was a
Um.
golden ballad though. I mean, I remember trying to
Yeah.
learn that one and that
I
was
remember you sending me like
oh
takes
my
of it
God.
as well.
Yeah, that
But
was
even stuff like but you've got also like the rival gang in the film with like the sort of car race at the end, and it's a bit sort of glamorized. And I think the film, the original stage show is quite gritty as well. Like it's almost like a sort of slice of life of youth and whatnot. And it means you can kind of get away with some of the more problematic stuff. Like, it's like, they are teenagers, they're kids, they're doing and saying things that aren't great. Obviously, you've got Vince Fontaine, who I played at age 15. I got cast as, yeah,
That'll
it's
never
just,
not be funny.
yeah, it's the fact that the person I was hitting on was, older than me, which is just like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was the person who
just
played
a little bit.
Marty was older than me. Yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Don't
It's,
worry, it
yeah,
gets
it's,
worse.
it does. Yeah, it really does. But, but
Mm,
with the kind of with the stage show, I think you can kind of get away with it because it is almost as a slice of life, almost like heard it described as almost like documentary. It's kind of like gritty, the kind of the story of the teenagers going through their troubles. Whereas in the film, almost kind of glamorizes it and kind of makes it a bit kind of like happy-go-lucky kind of pop culture kind of, oh, there's a flying car at the end, and it's kind of like, oh. And it's the whole thing at the end with like Sandy changing herself with Danny. That's been called out a lot
yeah,
over the years, and it's the whole oh, change yourself for somebody else, and it's kind of a bit. Uh,
yeah. It's
but
not a
as I say, in
perfect movie
yeah,
by
in
any means.
I always say that's the kind of thing. It's like in the stage show, I feel like you can kind of get away with it more because it's just showing it more true to life and gritty, whereas the film is kind of like romanticized and the film has become like quite iconic, but it's this very like romanticized look at the 1950s and that kind of era. Um, and it was coming at a time as well with the film. Obviously, 1978, the film came out of the film came out. Sorry, you were kind of on the cusp of a lot of 50s nostalgia. Obviously, Reagan was about to be inaugurated into the presidency shortly after, and the 1980s was very nostalgic because I think because of his influence on the country, and particularly America. I'm more referring to, you know, that sort of 50s nostalgia kind of comes about a lot. They're trying to recapture that after the sort of very, very liberal 60s and 70s, which, it's very much the 80s are a reaction against that and more trying to return to the 50s. You look at Back to the Future, Marty goes back to the 50s from the 80s, and you see all those like parallels and whatnot, and like what's different, but what's kind of stayed the same in a sense.
Mm.
And in a way, I think the Grease film almost kind of plays into that in a way. Um,
Yeah, I can
but
see that.
yeah, yeah, I think it's one of those films that I kind of like. It is charming. I have some attachment to it, and the songs are great. Like I can't deny that.
Yeah,
Grease
I
of the
mean
Word,
it.
obviously the Frankie Valli title song. Love
Yeah,
me some Frankie Valli. But obviously, Summer Nights, Grease Lightning, We Go Together. We Go Together is great. You're the one that I want. There's plenty of great songs.
yeah. It's one of those things where I know it's not perfect, but just because we've
Yeah,
kind of got that nostalgia for it, I do
yeah. That
still
and
like.
there's
Even
nothing
though I
wrong with
haven't
that.
watched it in years, I have
Hmm.
not watched it since before COVID. Since when we were
Yeah,
doing it. But back then, I used to watch it so much to try and
yeah.
remember the
Fair.
songs and the words. Because obviously, when we were doing it, I was doing some of the choreography for some of the songs, like Summer Nights. So
Yeah,
I was watching that scene over and over and trying to see what can I
yeah.
take from the movie that we can use in what we're doing.
Mm. I
Uh,
forgot that, to be fair.
yeah, because I choreographed a few of the things. So
Yeah,
I was part of
yeah,
me and another girl. We were choreographing Grease Lightning.
yeah,
I think I kind of helped with Sandy, which was Danny's kind of song in the drive-through.
yeah. Was
You
I
know,
wasn't I trying to choreograph We Go Together?
yes, I think you and
I
her
feel
were
like I
doing
was
We
trying
Go
to.
Together. But
Yeah,
yeah, we were all kind of doing some of the
chipping.
choreographing, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so I was watching a few of the scenes over and over. I was trying to get the vibe of it and get the voice of it, and so I was watching the movie a lot. So even though I haven't
Mhm.
seen it in a long time, I still remember it quite well.
Yeah,
But it's because we've got that history with it that I do still quite
yeah.
like it. I kind of have that soft spot for it, really.
That's fair.
But let's
Yeah, but
let's throw
yeah.
it back over to you. Give us something
Mhm.
good.
I will do. But no, no. With just last point, Gris. So with that whole kind of thing of obviously, that I enjoy looking at like culture in film and like time periods and how it kind of captures that. And that's a point about Greece of like how it kind of plays into that sort of romanticized 50s nostalgia without looking at it critically and looking at it in the kind of the actual flaws of that time period and kind of you know stuff like civil rights and racial segregation, Cold War fears. That was a lot kind of on the surface. The kind of film kind of glosses over that in a sense. It's more
Mm.
like romanticized. So that's just kind of a point that I find interesting about the film. Not good or bad, just I find it interesting. But anyway, that's Grease done with. Is
For
it?
now,
It
it'll come
won't
back someday.
because yeah, it will come back.
It always does. Like
But
I
next,
got that Insta reel the other day of John Travolta dressed as Santa redoing the
oh,
Grease Lightning scene.
that's horrible. What was that about?
I
That's
don't
horrifying.
know, but we can't escape it. It'll come back
No.
soon.
Oh yeah. Anyway, before it does, let's move on to. So moving forward now from Seeing the Rain, in time, I mean, to the 1960s. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Yeah, so Sound of Music. Okay, that is a reference. So this was years ago. Me and Ronnie, we were filming up the pit mount for some videos, right? And he started filming me going, and I started doing like the hills are alive with the sound. And then he turns the camera in the most like black country yam yam way possible, goes, oh music. And it's I don't know where that video is. It's somewhere. If I can find it, I will send it. But I genuinely don't know where that video has gone. Because
Wow,
it's the fucking funniest shit ever.
that's very Ronnie coded. That's
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, but obviously again, Sound of Music, another classic musical. Everybody knows that number. Everybody knows a lot of the so like My Favorite Things, Do Re Mi. It's a very iconic film. It won Best Picture back in 1965 or 66. It came out in 65,
or
but won in 66.
67.
That's it. Don't you dare. Don't, don't you dare. Don't you dare be doing that, Sonny. Um but so yeah, so the film it's set just before World War II in Austria and stars Julie Andrews of Mary Poppins fame as Maria, who is a nun sent to be a governess to the home of this captain, played by Christopher Plummer, who's a widowed captain, I should say. And it's through her influence that she brings, like, love and music into the home, all under the sort of backdrop of the rise of the Nazis pre-World War II. And And I think it's really interesting because I say everyone knows the Sound of Music, everybody knows the iconic songs, and I thought as well that I thought that I would like it, but that it would be a bit kind of like cheesy, a bit sort of happy-go-lucky, kind of like a bit like what I was saying with Grease, a bit kind of happy-go-lucky, kind of like a bit schmaltzy and whatnot. But I was surprised with how much depth there was in the Sound of Music. That
Yeah,
it's a really interesting film. I say with that element of when it's set, where it's set, and I say the rise of the Nazis, you can feel that particularly towards the second half of the film, but it's kind of present sort of throughout, and it's really interesting how it sort of rises because that's how it happened. It basically snuck into society in the 30s. But I also think it contrasts really interestingly with music. Obviously, Maria is very free spirited, loves music, and the film kind of celebrates music as this way of expressing yourself freely. You know,
yeah,
obviously there's the Do Re Mi song, which is like, her teaching the children how to craft music and craft songs with just those like notes and whatnot. And it's that contrast of, whether it is the rise of fascism, whether it is the captain who's very controlling of his kids originally, where they're kind of like, marching in time. It's kind of an interesting parallel. Whether it's the church that he's from is like an institution that is controlling, and she's very free spirited. That contrasts quite heavily with all that. And the kids are obviously very free spirited, and it kind of she allows them an outlet with that through music. And I just think it's a really interesting point. And the film is based on semi-based on true events of this family of singers and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it is really interesting, and as I say, it does get really tense towards the end, where they're basically having to flee from the Nazis, and they ultimately use their position as performers of music to get around that. And I just find it really interesting. But also as well, the film looks great, like so many great shots. Even though it's quite a small scale film relatively, it feels epic. It feels very grand in scope. And I was really surprised with how much I really love this film. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did.
Well, that's good. It exceeded your expectations then. It's again,
Yeah.
it's another one where it's one that everyone's heard of. Everyone's heard of the main song, the Sound of Music. But I
Mm.
haven't seen it, but I know of it.
Hmm. I mean, to be fair, I only watched it like the other week in prep for this episode because I was kind of like, I had a few in mind that I was thinking, oh, maybe I was thinking Sound of Music could be a good one because I've wanted to watch it for a while now. And I thought, finally get around to watching it. And I was like, I have some thoughts on it, so I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's also so weird seeing Christopher Plummer not as an older guy because I'm so used to seeing him in roles like in Knives Out, like in Up, he's the villain in Up, like him later on in his career before he passed away. So it's so weird seeing him in like kind of when he was like sort of the heartthrob of his day. It's so weird, you know. Because like
Yeah.
Julie Andrews, obviously I know from like Mary Poppins, I know from films of this era, so that's not really weird to me. But seeing him here is just odd. Yeah. But yeah, that's my take on the Sound of Music. Again, another classic that is much more than it's much more than its iconography. There is a lot more there, and I think it's really interesting. And it's also just a bloody well made film and just really fun and really, really sweet. So yeah. So what's your second one?
My second one. We have to. This is the one that is the reason I've back and forth with you a lot on what we're classing as eligible for
Okay.
this. Um, So, to clarify, it is a musical movie. It has songs
Hmm.
performed by characters. It
Yeah.
is not a movie that we have defined as its own spotlight, and it is not a movie that has been designated in part three yet. So, technically, I'm allowed to talk about it.
Okay. K-pop.
Yeah.
Valid. You
I,
know
I
what?
have
Valid.
to, because all the other times we talked about it in part one a couple of months ago, and I talked about it
Yeah.
briefly, and I said it's good. We couldn't go much into the spoilers because it's part one. We don't do spoilers in part one.
Yeah.
We talked about it briefly in a part two, and that's where the kind of is it does it count? But it was in the one where we
Yeah.
rank everything we watched that year, which we've determined
Yeah.
doesn't count as a singular or a spotlight. And
Yeah. I
so
think yeah, that
now I'm doing it in part three
that's you know what, fair enough.
because
I respect that.
it's a modern day musical.
Yeah.
We haven't had that many iconic musicals as much in recent time that aren't like adapted from older stuff. Like this is an original musical
Yeah.
from this year. It is the songs are so good that they've charting. They've been nominated for awards. It's become a whole pop culture phenomenon, but we've never really been able to discuss the bones of what makes the movie as good as it is
Yeah.
without delving into spoiler territory. So the movie obviously revolves around three K-pop stars who kind of, they hunt demons in their pastime. It's a crazy premise.
It's just that pairing of like they're singers, they're also demon hunters.
It,
Just
it's wild,
it's just
but somehow it
yeah,
works,
that's
and their
great.
music is the key to keeping demons out of the world. And so the front
Hmm.
man from Squid Game decides that this can't be on, and so he sends out a demon boy band to counteract it. And again, it's a ridiculous premise, but there's a lot of really interesting things when you dig into it. Um,
Yeah,
there's a lot of things with Rumi in general and her kind of sense of identity and worth because she's
yeah,
part demon and has these patterns and everything. It's very cleverly weaved into a lot of the lyrics as well.
hmm,
Like there comes a point where you realize before the actual scene where it happens that a lot of the lyrics written for Takedown are about Rumi, not just demons in general, and it's very
yeah,
much an attack on herself. A lot of the songs are very clever. Soda Pop is very much about like the demons consume your souls like
yeah.
soda, but it's very cleverly disguised as just this really poppy, saturated song that everyone's just gonna kind of love.
Everyone consumes the music. They
Yeah,
consume their souls.
yeah. Golden is obviously a very uniting song, and obviously we're seeing it still at number one on so many leaderboards at the moment when it
Yeah,
comes to music. Visually, it's just a stunning film from Sony Animations, who have made some better stuff lately compared to a lot of the old stuff they did. But this is very visually nice film. It's again not a perfect film. You could tell it's been cut down a lot. I think
hmm,
originally it was supposed to be somewhere around 4 hours. and they ended up cutting it and cutting it into 90 minutes, which is maybe a little too short. There's a few narrative points that just kind of come up out of nowhere or aren't delved into enough. But the songs are just the song's really good. That the story is like overall, it's one of those movies that just feels really good. Even
Yeah.
down to like the final sequence of comboing from your idol into what it sounds like is just such a great sequence.
Mhm.
And genuinely, this film is just I had a lot of time to sit on this film now from when I first watched it back in I think August. I've had a lot of time to really sit and think on it, and like it just something about the movie just felt so great, and I get that's kind of the goal of the musical. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I figured, well, can I work in a way to genuinely discuss deeper about this movie, even though we've talked about it before?
I think it works. I think it still works as a spot because that's it. We haven't spotlighted it specifically, so
No,
it's still you can still talk about it. Yeah,
but yeah,
and it
just
is a musical, and it's great to have another great animated musical that isn't just Disney. It's cool to see something different like
yeah,
that,
because
and
almost all animated musicals are Disney.
that's what everyone ever thinks of, and I think
Yeah,
it's good to get something different, you know. But yeah, I also did love it as well. I mean, maybe not as much as you have because you watched it
I've watched it like
God
four
knows how many
times
times.
now. Still
I've
four,
only
but
seen it the
yeah,
once. I've only seen it the once, but I do also really love it, and I was really taken aback again by how this has no right to be as good as it is because it's such a random
exactly.
assortment of ideas, but it just works. It's mad.
I'm just really hoping with the sequel that they got planned. Obviously, they've got 4 years to cook it. I'm hoping they're gonna like
Yeah,
really, really kind of like
bring it home.
bring it home and like give it the extra feeling it needs in certain places to kind of pull
Mhm.
everything together, expand on the
Yeah,
world. But I think there's just so much you can take from Rumi's story alone, and in a sense, Gino's that just like is so applicable. Obviously, Rumi is like we discussed earlier with Elphaba, she's kind of othered in a sense, but she does it
yeah,
to herself. But
hmm
but she also had Celine doing it to her when being raised up, othering her and saying about,
yeah.
I have to hide the patterns and everything.
Mhm.
Gino obviously lives
It's
with a
like
lot of
when
shame
it
and
all gets
guilt
up.
as well. It's
Mhm.
from his past choices with his family. I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
interesting themes in here as well that and there's a
the
lot
characters
of
are very layered.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, very, very layered. There's again, I really think the lyricism's very clever. Like a lot of the lines in Your Idol, you could tell are Gino speaking directly to Rumi about being the only one
Yeah,
that'll love her sins and that he's here to save her. And obviously, in the end, he does save her. There's so many little things that the more you watch it, the more it clicks. You're like, oh, that's clever. But yeah, you have to watch it a
Mhm.
few times because there's always so much going on all the time that you can't really take it all in on one watch. I feel like I had to watch it again to kind of see the things I missed. But I just think it's a really great movie. Again, no
It
right to
is.
be as
Yeah,
good as it is. I still think
yeah.
it's really weird that I love it as much as I do, but it genuinely, it is a really good movie. And I was very
It is, and it's
skeptical,
so
but it
cool.
is.
It is, yeah. It's so cool that you do love it as much as you do. So, is that all for K-pop?
Yeah, unless you have anything to add. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm
I
done
kind
with
of,
it now.
I kind of, yeah, I kind of feel the same way that you do. It's like it's so creative, the concepts and the animation's fantastic as well. It's so vibrant, and the action set pieces are so cool.
Yeah.
It's so funny as well. Like it's everything that Sony Animation excel at the minute, like currently, like great
Yes, I mean, these
innovative
are the people
animation.
who gave us the Emoji Movie, so, but
No, I said at the
at
minute,
the
post
minute, it's what they
Spider-Verse,
excel at,
post
definitely.
post Spider-Verse. All right, you
Yes.
thank Spider-Verse for this.
Okay, thank you, Spider-Verse, for the increase in Sony Animations quality.
Good. Yeah.
But
Genuinely, the emoji movie was pretty a fundraiser for Spider-Verse.
it's like
Yeah.
Megamind 2 being the fundraiser for Wild Robot or something.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry, we gave you
But is that
this. Here's
everything?
something good in return.
Yeah. Is that everything?
Yeah.
So I've got my final musical, and this one is very different. It's not based on a Broadway show, and I say it's not an original film. It's based on a concept album by a band, right? Now I want to ask you, right? You like rock, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you? Yeah,
Rock and metal,
you like
definitely. Yeah.
you like sort of rock, like sort of classic rock, that kind of stuff. How familiar are you with the Who?
Oh, The Who, no, I'm not very familiar with them, no.
Okay, well you should be because the final film I'm talking about is Tommy, based on their. It's the film from 1975, based on their concept album Tommy, and so it's about uh, the main character Tommy, who in the film is played by Roger Daltrey, who's the lead singer of the Who, who's
Okay.
a deaf, dumb, and blind kid who is who goes through a lot of shit throughout his childhood, and then eventually becomes a master pinball player. You know the song Pinball Wizard.
Okay. Yeah.
You know that song, don't you?
I
Yeah.
think I've heard it.
Well, that's where this is from, and he becomes a master pinball player, and he then becomes this like cult figure who gains this massive following and whatnot, and his family then try and capitalize on that.
Wow.
It is, yeah. Tommy is a weird film. It is really out there, as it's based on a concept album. So, in a similar vein to something like Jesus Christ Superstar, it is mainly just visuals and music. It's just a mostly sung through, in this case, film. I think there is a stage version of it as well. Um,
Okay.
but this one, it's so wild and out there, but so creative and so kind of unrestrained. And I love seeing all of that. Just kind of, it goes all out. A bit like K-pop. It just kind of goes all out on these concepts and some fantastic visuals that are really trippy and surreal. I love all of that. The singing, the songs are great. I mean, I do really like the Who as a band. Um, but yeah, and it's just great. And as I said, like Pinball Wizard, and it's the Elton John version in this one, because he's in there as the Pinball Wizard. That has been on repeat in here and on my Spotify for the past week because it's such a good song. And speaking of it, you've got a lot of like appearances from famous like musicians, like Elton John's in it, Eric Clapton's in it as a preacher, which makes me very happy. Tina Turner's in it. Jack Nicholson shows up as a doctor and he sings, and it's like I didn't ever expect Jack Nicholson to sing, but it's he actually sings it quite well, which is really surprising. Um, and yeah, it's just a really well created film, really fun vibe and aesthetic, but also the kind of plot of it is almost like like a modern day sort of Jesus story. I know I made the comparison with Jesus Christ Superstar, but there is a kind of parallel to how that's it is like a you know Tommy becomes like a Jesus like mythic cult figure because he defies the odds as becoming this master pinball player, and so he builds this sort of cult following around him, and as I said, his family his parents specifically try to capitalize on that, and it's that weird offbeat sense of humor that it's imbued with that they do that with. I don't know. It's so odd. It's so out there, but I love that. I love what they do with that, and it is just it is a fascinating film and very creatively very inspiring. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to go for something a bit different because obviously singing the Rainy Sound music, very classic, iconic musicals. This is a very like bit of a cult favorite, but yeah, this is again a very underrated one that I don't think many people will have seen. Like not as much these days. So that's why I wanted to spotlight something a little bit different for the third and final option.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it is as it's just a I love it. I really do love it. And I get it's probably not everyone's cup of tea. This one it is very out there,
Yeah.
but I say give it a chance. I say give it a shot because you may love it. You just kind of you'll be sort of taken. Maybe if you can't explain it, but you'll just sort of be taken really by it.
Yeah, it might be one
Anyway,
to check out
what's your
because
fight?
I
Yeah,
do quite often like some of those really weird, out there, very different films that don't do what you expect. I
yeah,
mean, but yeah, I think my last one, I've tried to go with very different things. Obviously, Grease is is kind of my classic by my standard musical. I mean, yeah, sure, it's
yeah.
not as old as your classics, but in terms of what I've got, that's the classic. Uh,
Yeah.
Demon Hunters is the contemporary. This is the weird outlier.
Okay.
I've chosen a movie that probably is my favorite musical because I've watched it every year for almost my entire life. And that would be The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh,
We're linking it to Christmas because
yes.
it's Christmas, and what
Yes.
better movie to discuss than The Muppets Christmas Carol? Absolutely amazing. One of
You know,
the
you've actually just
best Christmas movies, period. It's a brilliant
I do
adaptation of Christmas Carol, but blended with the style of the Muppets. It's such a wonderful film.
you've actually that's actually reminded me, and this couldn't have been timed better, but as we're recording this next week, I'm going to watch this film with an orchestra in Brum.
Oh, you're watching the orchestra one. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm so looking forward to it. And it's like, actually, the music in the film is great. Like the songs, "One More Sleep." "One More Sleep" is my favorite. I just
Okay.
love that
Yeah,
little song. It's
I've got
very
the
sweet, and I
soundtrack
love it.
actually. I've got the CD in
Have
my
you?
car right now. But
Oh, brilliant!
yeah, I've got the soundtrack. But
But
yeah, the
that
music is wonderful.
that's a shout, mate. Yeah, I do love it.
But
And actually, it's a great adaptation.
it's such a lovely movie. I love the way that Michael Caine acts it straight as if he's not surrounded by a bunch of Muppets.
Yeah,
Like
it
it
makes
really
it.
kind of
It's that.
it really makes it work better. Is it makes it feel
Yeah,
more real in a sense, but it still has the
it's that
whimsy of
anchor.
having the Muppets. But he plays it
It's
very
that sort of
well.
anchor into it.
It
Oh,
is,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, the songs are great. All the songs are really good. So you got the opener Scrooge. You've got
Mhm.
One More Sleep, which is kind of iconic in its own right. Marley and Marley. I
Yeah.
really love that they've done this take of having two Marleys, and it's Statler and Waldorf because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
hilarious. They're always a great
Yeah.
time when they're on. You've got the It Feels Like Christmas is just such a feel good song with the Gross Christmas Present. Thankful Heart
I
is
love.
really uplifting at the end as well. I tend to
Mhm.
watch the
Yeah.
full version of the movie with the deleted
With the
scene
cut
of
song.
When Love Is Gone. I think that's a really lovely
Yeah.
song. I
Hmm.
think it works better when that's in there. Just narratively as well, in terms of the music as well, because in the overture, there's a bit of that song in there. In the finale, there's a like a reprise of that song, but When Love Is
Yeah.
Found. But so without that song in there, it feels weird, but that really makes it feel more
Hmm.
complete when you have that in there.
Yeah.
Like it just makes more sense where the love is found as comes from and what it's
Hmm.
kind of pulling together. But I think it's just really lovely. I love like the kind of the fun side of having the Muppet cast and having Kermit as Bob Cratchit and Miss Piggy and
That's great.
having Gonzo as Charles Dickens quoting the
The narrator
book
is great.
quoting the
Yeah.
book like perfectly, like emphasizing lines exactly as they're written in the book. Like you'll notice,
Hmm.
like in the movie towards the end, like he'll say, "And Tiny Tim, who did not die." In the book, that's very specified. Not is in capitals. Like the emphasis is exactly as it should be.
Yeah.
And then having Rizzo as his kind of sidekick, like it's such a fun kind of dynamic there.
That.
You'll have
Yeah.
a break from the plot of the movie to have this kind of little side bit with Charles Dickens and Rizzo, and it's such a lovely, fun time of a film.
It's a. Yeah.
It's very lighthearted, but doesn't lose the depth of the original story and what it's trying to
Yeah.
convey.
Yeah. And I do. I also love the fact that for the ghosts and whatnot, like they create original. They don't just like repurpose older Muppets. They create sort of the original, like puppets, like for the Ghost of Christmas Present and Yet to Come.
Yeah,
You know, I think that's really cool. And as it doesn't lose that darkness when it needs to, but also the light, because the story does go to some dark places, but I think this really retains that whimsy, that wonder, and that heart that the story does need to have. You know, and
yeah,
again, this is also one that is often I will often rewatch, and I say I'm going to be watching it again in a few days,
yeah.
and I cannot, as well with an orchestra, that'll be just amazing. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely. I've
yeah,
been wanting to go to that for quite a while now. I'll have to try and catch it sometime. But
yeah. I was just thinking that's perfect. Yeah,
yeah, but it's one I watch every year on Christmas Eve, and I have done so for as long as I can remember. Yeah, but yeah, it is that way that it still manages to keep the dark themes without, like undoing any of it. Like they could very easily have tried to cut out Tiny Tim's death for the sake of it's for a young audience,
yeah,
but they don't.
hmm
They could have tried to they could have tried to do something less with the fact that obviously Ebenezer finding out he's gonna die. Like they could have cut that for a younger audience and done something different, but they don't. They still keep the scene with his like housekeeper selling off all his old like belongings and whatever. Like that's quite a kind of a grim scene in like the original
yeah.
story. They keep that in.
They acknowledge the dark elements because they are part of life, but also that they will be, things will turn out good in the end.
And obviously, like the scene with like uh Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker coming in as like the charity collectors, like that is the
Yeah,
kind of scene you can just throw away if you needed to for a younger audience, referencing poor houses and poor people
yeah.
suffering and dying. Like that's the kind of thing they could have cut, but they didn't. Because they still wanted to keep the essence of the story and all the dark parts, all the plot and everything. But
There's
there's
so
so
much
much
respect for the
light
original.
brought into it with the Muppets. There's so much joy
Hmm.
brought into it. Like, but even then, they kind of add their own darkness in places where you have the little rabbit who comes up and sings and asks for a penny and whatever, and then after the one more sleep till Christmas scene, you kind of see him homeless, like sleeping in like pile of newspaper. Like, they've still got all that kind of grittiness of what the story is with
Yeah,
so much joy from the Muppets and the songs and how uplifting everything is. It's just such a nice balance of it, and it's just such a wonderful movie.
brilliant.
But yeah, that
I
kind of
just
wraps it
realized as
up.
well that I've seen all three of your picks as well.
Really, that's yeah,
Yeah,
that's rare. That is rare.
I've seen
That
all
doesn't
three.
happen
I was
often.
looking because basically what I also do, I make a letterbox list on my account of all the films that we've spotlighted and whatnot. Yeah, I've got it. I got it right here. Hang on. Every film spotlight on the podcast. So there we start Deadpool and Wolverine. I put the spotlight film and then the classic movie. So there's the
Yeah.
Cornetto trilogy for that one and whatnot. And you just see them all together and whatnot. So there's Wicked. There's my three. There's Grease, Muppets, and K-pop. And I was looking at that. I was thinking, so you might want to see there.
Oh yeah.
I was like, damn, I've seen all three of them.
Yeah. That's I mean, I should
I think
start
aside from
linking
that,
that in the description actually, the letterbox list so people can go and
yeah, yeah. I just like it as a little kind of like record, like an archive of all of the stuff that like a library of all the films that
yeah.
we've spotlighted and whatnot. And it's just
What
cool
a
to have.
100 I wonder what our 100th film is going to be.
I mean, if you include all of them, the 100th film is Wicked for Good.
Really?
That's the 100 of all these. That's the 100th.
Wow.
Although obviously not the yeah, yeah. Currently
Yeah, wow.
106. Yeah.
Cool. Does that include like when we do part two, when we do like the whole lists of what we've watched? Do we
I
include those?
I I don't count
Oh,
those.
wow. So we've reached 106 already without those. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. That's kind
we're
of
in it for a while.
crazy. We made it to our 100 movie this episode. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Seeing all of these. There is there's a lot of variety on the list.
I might make a list on IMDb for the same thing. Because obviously I'm on
You could do,
IMDb,
yeah,
so I might make a
yeah,
list
true.
there as well. But yeah, so
That's
anyway,
true. Yeah.
that's the end of the episode. We talked about our musicals. I think we had a very good variety here, a lot of different kind
Mhm.
of. Obviously, most of it was like 20th century, but still got a good variety of different
Yeah.
types and different times. Good stuff.
You got your classics, you got your modern stuff, you got your weird sort of like cult Tommy, basically, your weird cult favorites. But
And
yeah,
then the
this is
Muppets are
brilliant.
kind
Yeah,
of
great
just their own
variety.
genre at this point.
Yeah, that is the Muppet call.
See, and this is what I don't understand. Why are Disney making all these live action remakes when they have the rights to Muppets? Just make Muppet versions in the movie. That'd be so much better.
Yeah, why don't they do that?
Beauty and
That'd
the
be so
Beast.
cool.
Beauty and the Beast, but the only human is the Beast.
I kind of want to see that now. And the Beast, of course, Nicolas Cage.
No, I was thinking get someone like Hugh Jackman for it or something.
Oh, unironically, that'd work.
Yeah. Like, why are we making these live action remakes shot for shot when we could just get the Muppets in? Make Muppet movies like they used
Abs
to.
Disney, you
Disney,
know,
listen up. Listen,
we could just
we're
do it.
doing your work for you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's I unironically want to see that now.
Can we make it happen? Can we like start a movement to get Beauty and the
Start
Beast with the
crowdfunder.
Muppets? Just the Muppets and Hugh
Oh,
Jackman, but Hugh Jackman has to play it straight like they're not Muppets, like Michael Caine did.
like Michael,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's amazing. But yeah, but yeah, that's this episode. That's this has been one of my favorite episodes to record. Like we've packed a lot in,
Yeah.
and I think it's just been a really nice like end of year episode. And obviously the fact that we both saw this one together, the build up to this one, it's been a one that we've built up to for a while. All the things that we talked about really cool, and not just in Wicked and the musicals, but also in part one there was a lot that we covered.
We had
And
actual Hollywood news as well, and not just
yeah,
what
we had
movies are
stuff.
out. We had
But even then,
groundbreaking stuff, you know.
even
Yeah,
then I
we
had
had
a
good
lot to
movies.
talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
and overall, like this past year on the podcast, it's I say we've now done a full calendar year on the podcast from
Yeah.
January to December, and it's really cool. And I can't wait to see where we go 2026. Um, and we don't, there's all kinds of things we could do, and not just for the upcoming movies that are coming out to spotlight, but also classic movies. That we've already batted about some ideas like
Oh yeah, I
the
mean
Pirates
we've
of the Caribbean
Pirates,
films.
I mean, we've discussed
We'll
doing a
talk.
separate episode for like the whole of Star Wars franchise ranked,
Yeah,
like as a bonus feature. We've discussed a few other things for bonus features that we might do in the future, but we'll keep some of those quiet for now. But we've got some
yeah.
interesting
Don't get leaked again.
ideas that will
Mhm.
surprise people. So we know we've got a lot in the works for
I mean,
2026. It could be a very good
I
year.
mean, I've written down somewhere if I can find it. Bet you I've got the wrong. Oh no, I haven't. This is the right one. I've got a note of potential part three ideas. I've called it, and I've got a bunch of them. Some of them I can tick off. I can tick off musical movies because
Yeah,
I've written that down in it, so I can tick that off. Um, but yeah, there's plenty of them, and I've got more ideas now from this list. So there's so many things that we can do, and I think it'll be really exciting to carry on and see where we go.
definitely.
And obviously, if there's anything that you want us to cover, I think if you've got any ideas, let us know because that'll be, we want to hear what kinds of things you want us to talk
Yeah, we
about.
always love hearing from the commenters, the regulars, everyone who sticks around to watch the show. Interestingly, I got the opportunity to look at the Double Feature podcast's own Spotify Wrapped this year, and even though we got small numbers of viewers, we technically have better ratings than 50% of podcasts on Spotify. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, the statistics are quite
Damn.
interesting. We've got better ratings than 50% of podcasts. We've got a better season one debut rating than most podcasts. We've genuinely got some good numbers, even though our numbers are small.
Wow.
Technically, we've got, but apparently our best episode on Spotify is the Thunderbolts episode. That one got more views than others.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't. I wouldn't have expected that.
yeah, and we've got a few people that are listening regularly, and so it's cool. Obviously, we're not as big on Spotify yet as we are on YouTube, because of
Yeah.
obviously it being newer there. But it'll be cool to try and get both to grow. The Instagram's going to be cool. That'll be good to help promote
Yeah.
both sides of it there.
Exactly.
I'll be looking
We've
at
got
more
plenty.
ways to expand to other platforms as well, podcast wise. So,
Mhm.
hopefully, we can continue to grow next year. We've got more cool stuff coming. So stay around. Let us know what
Okay.
you want to see next year. And for those of you who have stuck around with us, either for the year or from the beginning, thank you for sticking around. We do appreciate it.
We do.
We always love
And
to hear
and
your thoughts and to see your reactions to things.
so I just love, and also as like a thank you to you as well because I love the fact that this podcast has obviously we had inspirations of where we, originally when we were kind of devising it, what we wanted to do. But I love the fact that it's become our own thing. The amount of like in jokes that we have now because
Yeah.
of the damn podcast. I think that's really sweet. Yes, it's quite funny, a lot of them, but it is quite sweet that it's ours, and it's not, we've built this in a way and we've created this, and that's really quite special.
Yeah, I think we found a really
And
good groove with this. Like it took a little while
yeah,
to begin with to find the exact groove, but we got
yeah,
there. And I think this year in particular has been very, very much a step
consistent.
up from last year. Last year was kind of figuring out where we wanted to do. The
Yeah,
first episode, I think, feels a little bit wooden because we're like not sure what we're doing or if it's going
yes.
to work. Episode two has the obvious flaws in part three. Episode three, obviously, we were talking about Joker 2 and we didn't need to talk about it for very long. Episode four, we just kind of threw everything together. And episode five, we somehow turned Gladiator 2 into a Christmas episode.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this year, everything's been kind of like more streamlined, more in the groove, more we know what we're doing. The cameras has
Yeah,
been a huge
that
upgrade,
helps
I'd
so much.
say.
Yeah,
That you get
and the
so
mic
much
and the mic
more.
as well.
And yeah, and I've got the better mic and camera as well, I think
Yeah,
real step up this year. And so I think we've really got a good groove now. We've still kept a few things that we learned from the first year, like
yeah,
doing the Royal Rumble episode.
yeah.
That
That's a
that
fun
was
thing. Yeah,
fun. But and
yeah.
then obviously
The
we've
Oscars
the
episode.
Oscars episode. I actually do want to
Yeah,
do that again next year. That was a good episode.
really?
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was going to work, but it worked, and I want to do it again.
Okay, mate.
So
I'm
I
buzzing
think
about
we've watched quite a few of the movies that are going to get nominated for next year, and we've talked
that.
about quite a few of them. So I want to do that again.
Yeah, that's definitely a shout. I mean, I'm very interested to see what gets nominated. What I'm really interested to see what this year's will be, or next year, sorry, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting. But yes, I'm thinking we're gonna have some good stuff next year. I don't know what we're gonna
Yeah.
start with in January, but we'll find something.
No idea. I know that the 28 years later sequel's coming out. The Bone
Watch Five
Temple.
Nights at Freddy's 2.
Dude, I haven't even watched the first one. Come on.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Okay.
But but I will be reporting on if the second one's good. But we'll definitely find something to do in January. But yeah,
I mean, we'll have to.
yeah, we'll have to. The show must go on.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so thank you all to everyone for watching and sticking with the podcast all this time, and long may it continue into 2026 and beyond.
Defo. Like, comment, subscribe, send it
I
to
can't
people.
believe we've been doing this for this long. But
Insane.
yeah,
Insane.
that's mad. And with all that said,
Yeah.
take care and have a good day.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and see you in the new year.
Merry Christmas
And
to
no,
all, and to all a good night.
and God bless us, everyone. Only 10 minutes.